Hi, welcome back to my series Maladaptive Daydreaming, and where I'm going to be looking at different topics or aspects related to maladaptive daydreaming. I've done one on sleep. I'm going to be doing ones on, different topics that will relate to maladaptive daydreaming in some way. Today I'm going to be talking about music. Music is a really big one for people. It's one of the most common triggers. So I just wanted to talk about our relationship with music and how we can kind of incorporate music in our lives, but have it not be something that links to daydreaming. So when I was younger, music was a really big thing for me. I used to play music in my room, and I used to run up and down my room and pace and, do all these gestures and things that people with maladaptive daydreaming do. And I think this is very common. Music is really a big facilitator of daydreaming, and it really helps us to, I don't know what it is. It's it makes things more vivid. It makes things flow more. I think, anybody who maladaptive daydreaming will have particular music that they know they will put on and they know they will daydream to. So, when I was younger, I had loads of different songs that would be okay, this is perfect for daydreaming. It's got a particular rhythm to it that's just ideal for daydreaming. And the reason I was thinking about this topic recently is that I was getting a tattoo done, and I was lying on the chair, and I was feeling really present and really enjoying the experience of getting a tattoo, actually. But they had the radio on, and this song came on, and it was the song Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. And I just had this feel, even though I had been feeling very present, I wasn't thinking about maladaptive daydreaming at all. I wasn't daydreaming. But when that song came on, I was like, oh, wow, this would be the kind of song I would have loved to have daydreamed to. And it just kind of took me back, and it made me start kind of thinking about that again, because I know, music, if you do maladaptive daydream, then you will know that music can be a massive trigger. And when you are daydreaming, it's really difficult to listen to music and not daydream. So that's why I think we need to be very selective about what music we listen to and in what contexts. So I used to, when I got older, and I kind of stopped pacing, my main time to do this would be when I'm walking in the street and I'm listening to music, and I'm just completely disappear into my daydreams while I was listening to music walking around. So I've really had to cut that down. So just now I'm actually not listening to any music. I think that is probably the number one way to deal with the music problem, is not to listen to music. But for a lot of people, obviously that's quite depressing, and we don't want to cut music out of our lives. So I think what I would say is try to find music that you can enjoy that is not going to instigate your daydreaming. So by that I mean music you can get more invested in the lyrics. So I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift, and I find her really difficult to daydream to because her music is really evocative. Her lyrics are very evocative, and I'm just kind of picturing the stories that she's leading me on. So if you can think about music where you actually get engaged in the stories of them. I have this really vivid memory from when I was younger, when I had the radio on, and I was just kind of daydreaming to all the music that's on it. And then the song Fast Car by Tracy Chapman came on, and I remember I think I was probably trying to daydream to it first, and then the lyrics just got me. I just got completely pulled in by the lyrics, and I actually just sat down on the floor next to the radio and was just listening to the lyrics, and they really hit me. I think that the lyrics of that song has been really interesting to me, because it kind of is about having these real life moments that kind of feel larger than life, that you think are going to turn your life around, and that you're very present in, and then life just sort of going back to normal and back to all the challenges. So it was really about living that moment. I know there's deeper themes to that song, but that's kind of what I took from it at that time. And I really do love that song a lot for that reason. So yeah, her music is very interesting lyrically. maybe like people like Bob Dylan or Sam Fender, I think has got really interesting lyrics. So yeah, I think I'd try to listen to music in a different way now. So I really, I wouldn't listen to generic pop that would cause me to want to daydream. I try to avoid that now when I'm walking around. Really the safest thing is to walk around without music, and it's also a good thing to practice, being in the present moment. I really try now to kind of focus on my surroundings and think about what's around me and think more deeper thoughts if I can about, what's happening around me, as opposed to, just putting on my music and kind of disappearing, which is what I would have done before. And the thing about it is, it can be very enjoyable, and it's something we feel we don't want to stop. So in a lot of ways, people, this is one of the big struggle points, I think, for people. So I think you really do need to identify what music you daydream to and when it's okay to listen to that and when it's not going to cause you to daydream. The other thing I would say is maybe if you can listen to podcasts or audiobooks, or there's an app called Blinkist that gives summaries of audiobooks, which I've quite enjoyed listening to. But yeah, the music thing is so interesting because so many people report that as a trigger of maladaptive daydreaming. And, it's funny, like we all do this like without knowing everybody else was doing this, and then when you read like that everyone else as well was triggered by music, I don't know, like it's obviously got to be like quite an intense factor. And I obviously try to think back to when I started daydreaming and wondering if I was doing it with music to begin with, or if music just kind of made things easier and better. Like I can't remember the first time that I was maladaptive daydreaming, whether it was to music or not. But yeah, I think the thing about maladaptive daydreaming is if you do want to stop, you do need to analyse the triggers and stop the triggers. So, if music is a big trigger, then, you probably will need to stop it for a while, and it will be really hard at first, but then I think you'll get into a routine. And like if you're just starting out trying to stop maladaptive daydreaming, you maybe are not going to stop it completely. Like you might just, have certain times where you would normally daydream where you could stop doing that by not listening to music so much. But I just want to say that not listening to music will not solve the problem of maladaptive daydreaming, because you probably are capable of daydreaming without music. This is really just talking about music specifically being a trigger, because I do remember reading a comment from somebody saying, I really need help, but all everybody says is stop listening to music. That's really not what I'm saying, because I'm getting a lot of help and I've got medication, and there's a lot more to trying to stop maladaptive daydreaming than just stop listening to music. But even with the help that I've been getting and the medication, I would still not want to put myself in a position where I would desire to daydream, or I would want to daydream. So it's not so much that stop listening to music will be the answer to stop maladaptive daydreaming. It's that you're going to lessen your enjoyment of the maladaptive daydreaming. Maybe you're going to cut down at times that you could be maladaptive daydream. The point is, even if you get a lot of help, you might still be prone to this. And that I said this in my other video, like I am on medication and that's helped tremendously, but if I don't sleep, the maladaptive daydream can come back. If I indulge in triggers too much, then the maladaptive daydream can come back. Like it's not, it's going to be something like you need to get a lot of help, but you also need to help yourself. So by helping yourself, you're stopping the triggers that are going to set it off. So I think that's what I would say about music. I'd say don't stop listening to music altogether, but find different ways to enjoy music. Find different points where you can listen to music, like maybe put on music and clean, or put on music you know, and like colour in, or, you know, do Lego, do something mindful, put on music and do some yoga. You know, you want to try and disconnect the music from the daydreaming so that you can listen to music and not daydream. But at that precarious situation, I wouldn't be listening to the kind of music that would trigger you to daydream. Like, you know, if I was to put on this vampire song that I heard in the tattoo shop, you know, I would have this desire to be like, oh, I'd love to walk around and daydream with that. So I just know, like, it's better for me not. There's no point me being like, oh, I think I'm cured now. I've got medication, so I'll put on that vampire song and, you know, I'll see. There's no point kind of tempting yourself like that, I suppose, is my point. Like, you want to try to limit the temptation to daydream, I would say. But yeah, music is a difficult one, and I just want to talk about it because I know it's something that frustrates people quite a lot, that this seems to be what a lot of people, you know, kind of tout as being like the answer to stopping maladaptive daydreaming. And I don't think it's necessarily the answer. I just think, you know, because it is such a powerful trigger, stopping it can reduce maladaptive daydreaming if you want to, or reduce the enjoyment. But remember, you know, maladaptive daydreaming can be like a massively big problem. It can be related to other mental illnesses. Like in my case it was OCD, but it could be related to something else. So if you are like pulling your hair out because people are saying just stop listening to music, then understand like the reason you're still not able to stop maladaptive daydreaming may be something really big. So definitely don't think that's what I'm saying here. Like, music is just something that might be compounding the issue that you could think about changing your relationship with. But again, please do get professional help if you can't stop maladaptive daydreaming and you feel it's truly impacting your life. But yeah, please do leave a comment and let me know your relationship to music, and is music a big trigger for you, and is there any music you've found that helps you to not daydream or like keeps you focused, and could you recommend it? Like I've said Taylor Swift, and I think like that's the best one for me that I've found, but you know, if you could recommend anything else, that would be really helpful to people. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe if you can, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.